Torah, a Dvar Torah for Parashat Tzav. Welcome to the weekly challenge. Beyond the fact that this week's subject, the Korbanot, is different and confusing, taking us far out of our comfort zone, Parashat Tzav adds another layer of difficulty. It goes back to discussing all the same offerings we've already dealt with, and leaves us with the question of why. If there's nothing to add, why revisit the same topic? If there is something to add, why didn't we talk about it in the first place? Ramban's famous words explain the difference between Parashat Vayikra, which first represents the voluntary offerings, burnt offering and peace offering, and then the obligatory offering, the sin offering and the guilt offering, and Parashat Tzav, which first presents the holiest offerings, the burnt offering, the sin offering, and the guilt offering, and then the less holy offering, the peace offering. And there are other reasons as well, but I want to look at the difference through a single word that does not appear in Parashat Vayikra at all, but repeats itself many times in Parashat Tzav. The word is Torah. Let me explain. In Sefer Vayikra, the Torah opens the subject of offerings with a general introduction when any of you brings an offering to Hashem, and then divides different sacrifices as follows. If his offering is a burnt offering from the herd, if he brings a sheep, if the offering to Hashem is a burnt offering of birds, if your grain offering is cooked in a pan, etc. Alternatively, when anyone brings a grain offering to Hashem, or when you bring a grain offering baked in the oven, or when anyone sins. In contrast, in Parashat Tzav, the Torah opens each sacrifice with, "This is the law, Zot Torah, of the burnt offering, of the grain offering, of the sin offering, guilt offering, Zevach HaShlamim." In other words, our first encounter with each offering isn't preceded by any declaration, but the second encounter, after we were already acquainted, is accompanied by a bombastic declaration of Zot Torah, this is the law. Noting some other differences between the portions could help us understand my difficulty. The burnt offering in Parashat Vayikra, the one that comes along with the conjunction if, favors, atones, accepts, offers, is leaned on, slaughtered, offered, sprinkled, skinned, cut, placed, arranged, washed, burned, and has a pleasing aroma. In Parashat Tzav, the offering with the bombastic declaration is burnt and removed from the altar. Most of the verses discuss removing the ashes, i.e. the cleaning work, the continued maintenance, perpetual fire, wood in the morning, etc. Do you want another example? Here you go. In Parashat Vayikra, the peace offerings, the shlamim, are offered, leaned on, slaughtered, sprinkled, and burnt. The Torah details these actions for the peace offering of a bull, sheep, and goat. Torah Zevach HaShlamim, on the other hand, talks about the bread and meat that will be eaten, not about bringing the offering itself. You want one last example? Let's leave this week's parsha to the Tzarat Parshiot. Which parasha should we look for the laws of Tzarat? The answer I usually get is Parashat Metzorah, which opens with, "This shall be Torah HaMetzorah, Zot Torah HaMetzorah." The problem is that it doesn't deal with the laws of Tzarat, but the laws of purification from Tzarat. This is even explicit in the verse. "This shall be the law of the Metzorah," the leper, "on the day of his cleansing." The laws of the leper while he is still a leper are written in Parashat Tazria without the words Zot Torah. These are the laws of. The commentators notice this phenomenon and relate to the location. Radat Sofman says this is the law can come at the beginning and or middle of any subject, and to the content. Ramban mentions that to complete the explanation of what was mentioned in the previous portion. But I think they left me something to add. In my opinion, Zot Torah isn't here to present or summarize anything. It's here to bring us back to the regular order of life. Torah Ta'olah refers to the completion of the work of the burnt offering and resetting the altar to its daily routine. Torah HaMetzorah allows the leper to return to human society. The law of the woman who has given birth concludes the 9 months of pregnancy. The law of the sin offering will end the sacrificial stage and refer to the laundering and breaking of the vessels that touched it. In other words, the Torah is not the climax when the offer feels especially close because he has been atoned for. The Torah is a way of life. In loving memory of my beloved and heroic student Amichai Shimon ben Ishai and Bat Yair Rubin Hashem Yikom Damo, Dovi Holtz, one who loves Torah and Tanakh.